Let me start this video with a bit of history. On May 12, 1934, a cloud of particulate matter from a windstorm in the Midwest darkened the skies in East Coast cities from Boston to Washington, D.C. Chicago alone recorded cleaning up 12 million pounds of dirt in the aftermath of just this one storm. Topsoil stripped from the fertile plains of the Midwest choked city dwellers in the east and turned midday light into an eerie night. This field in our town has probably had no cover crop on it over the winter and has been prepared for planting using the biggest equipment the farmer could afford. This is truly broken ground. It has been pulverized into a growing medium that will accept chemical inputs and will be quick and easy to cultivate throughout the spring. The cost can clearly be seen here as hundreds of years of topsoil are sent away in clouds of dust. There is no implement stirring the soil in this video. This is just the wind scouring the barren face of a field. Back on our side of the fence, using regenerative no-till practices, you can see a clear difference. Buffer zones of mown grass and shrubs not only shield the field from the drying effects of spring wind events, but they also actively harbor the soil and invertebrate organisms that allow our system to work without any mineral inputs or allowed organic spray. We have covered a lot of this ground in earlier videos, but it is refreshing to see how well protected we keep our soil. The heavy straw mulch in the garlic patch is providing ideal conditions for earthworm activity around the roots, and it protects those worms from marauding birds after a spring rain. The high tunnels add their own level of protection, both from fluctuating day and nighttime temperatures and from the occasional torrential rainstorm. The black drip irrigation lines conserve water and provide a degree of control over that necessary component of plant growth. Our stock of wood chips continues to be cycled through the farm. We like to age the chips in piles to start their fungal breakdown away from newly established plants, but raw chips have proven useful as we resurface some of the rougher farm roads. A quick peek into the high tunnels shows us how far ahead the protected garlic has grown over that in the open field. One of our exciting experiments has been using low-growing sedum or stone crop as a perennial cover crop. This hardy little ground cover has shallow roots which makes it easy to chop holes into for transplanting. The plants that are chopped out are easy to get established on any bare spots or moved to an entirely new bed. The continuous soil cover provided by the leaves and their shallow root systems soften the bed surface beautifully. In this tunnel, we have let dill and cilantro self-seed in with the sedum, and the increased plant diversity has benefited the soil while providing an early harvestable crop of herbs. The large pollinator meadow at the head of Field 2 has been trimmed up for this year's new growth, and Jim has begun pruning the raspberry canes. The straw mulch has been pulled back from the strawberries, and we are eager to see how they will bear and certainly how they will taste. Down past the blueberries and Jim's orchard, we come to what has become our primary no-tillage tool, the heavy plastic silage tarp. This section is covering a patch of winter rye that was close to knee-high when it was covered. By totally excluding all sunlight, the tarp prevents any further growth of the rye, and in just a few days the lush green stand takes on the color of straw. Within a few weeks, the mass of winter rye roots will begin to break down and provide food for the first spring flush of soil microorganisms. By the time you see this video, Jim will have finished pruning the vineyard. These grapes are among the many perennial plantings on the farm that remain in place for decades and help anchor our rich diversity of soil life. Roots that inhabit the soil continuously build the capacity to sustain life. The earthworms, ground beetles, and a vast array of microscopic life forms both transform and distribute the nutrients needed for healthy plant life well beyond these perennial rows. All of the white material that you see here is very light fabric row cover. Their primary use is to exclude insects from tender transplants or direct seeded greens, and they will provide a few degrees of frost protection in our variable spring weather. They will also prevent rabbits and groundhogs from feeding on the delicacies hidden from view. They can help slightly with soil moisture retention, and therefore seed germination, particularly when laid flat on the soil like this. On the downside, they can retain excessive heat on a brilliant sunny day, which may negatively affect cool-loving crops, and during wind events they may cause friction burns where they rub on any tender leaves. Occultation strips of woven ground cover cloth are being used two ways in this section of the field. First, to suppress weeds in the pathway between beds, and then as bed preparation tools between some of the last grass pathways on the farm. Further down the field are stripes of compost laid down in an approximation of the new bed and path spacing that is getting established on the farm this year. The plan here is to establish an annual ryegrass and mixed clover cover crop that can be mown throughout the season. The annual ryegrass should die down over the next winter, and the clover that remains should be sufficiently nourished to establish pollinator-friendly pathways as well as a nitrogen boost for the production bed. More tarping is seen here to terminate a rye cover crop, and another patch of ground with the annual ryegrass clover mix brings us down to the well-mulched asparagus beds. At the far end of the field we have two beds of direct seeded crops, followed by the three overwintered spinach beds, and finally 3 beds of barely visible scallions. We are also trying out another method to terminate winter rye without the use of plastic. This section of the field was mown with a mulching lawnmower that was surprisingly effective at chopping up the tough winter rye. We have a stash of corrugated cardboard that has no colored ink on it that is being carefully placed in shingle fashion to eliminate cracks or gaps that could allow the rye to regrow. Theo and Sammy are taking care of the careful cardboard fitting, and Kelsey is bringing down bucket loads of compost. A 2 to 3 inch layer of compost is spread, which is both very effective at holding down the cardboard and also helping to jumpstart the fungal decomposition of the sheets. Cardboard on its own seems to have all that is needed for fungus to begin growing, but the added darkness and moisture just hastens its progress toward soil. Just upfield, Ellen is driving stakes for the Pea Trellis. It is great to have so many hands on deck with such a wide variety of tasks to perform in springtime. And finally, a quick shot of the comfrey plants bordering the asparagus patch as they push their leaves up through the thick straw mulch. May we all share in their strength as we push on into the harvest season and renew ourselves with the bounty of our Mother Earth. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.